Somebody gotta say it. And I be the bitch to say it. Fellas, you wanna know why you black queens is choosing these white men? I'm gonna tell you. See, a lot of black men have a lack of ability to see the greatness in the black woman. They view us in a up light. You know why? Because they motherfucking mamas was fucked up. They get mad at us for seeing the potential in them. Like, nigga, you're great, nigga. But no, they think it's nagging. Then the black bitch will get a white nigga. This motherfucker kissing toes, bowing down, buying houses on the first day. He's addressing that black queen as a queen. He actually listens to what the she got to say. He take heed of her interests. He don't tell her, oh, that's a dumb idea. I'm just a narcissist, and no, you're not gonna be great. Instead, he pours into her because he knows having her is fucking valuable. Nigga, nigga, your value just went up with a black bitch. They fucking worship us, but don't shoot the messenger.
Pretty much everything that she said is what y'all probably have all heard. We've all heard for years now. Basically, white men worship us. Black men don't know how to value black women. You know, black men are immature. They're messed up. Yeah, everything that she said. But I want to play it again real quick because there's a few things that I want to specifically highlight.
Somebody gotta say it, and I be the bitch to say it. Fellas, you wanna know why you black queens is choosing these white men? I'ma tell you. See, a lot of black men have a lack of ability to see the greatness in the black woman.
Okay, first off, let's just keep it a buck. If your idea is to swirl hypergamously, you coming with that vernacular, I'm sorry, already you're limited. You are already limited. You coming with that literally kind of vernacular, like just that whole persona. You are getting a quote unquote bottom shelf Brad. You are not hypergamy leveling up. You are getting the dude, you are getting the white dude living in the hood or living in the trailer park. That's who you're getting. And I don't understand why a black woman like to throw this stuff around as if they can just go and jump classes and marry men who are like have a lineage or have great grandfathers who went to Harvard and Cambridge and own multiple properties. Like it's nothing. Like there aren't class distances. Like there aren't money distances. Like there aren't actually women who are already in the class that these men are from that they're now having to compete with. You can't come there talking like you're from the hood and expect you're going to get a dude literally from like freaking, I don't know, like I said, Harvard. You can't do that. If you're coming with that kind of energy, you're going to get a guy who's in a hood just like you. Maybe a white dude, maybe a dude from a trailer park. This whole swirler conversations is happening. They're completely overlooking not only race, but class and how they are very much connected. So that's what I listened to her and I'm like, nobody believes you because first of all, that persona already is going to be very off-putting to the white culture. Like very, very off-putting. So what?
They view us in a fucked up light. You know why? Because they mamas was up. They get mad at us for seeing the potential in them.
Okay, I've heard that too. Their mamas is effed up. Or, they have abandonment issues. They have relationship issues. Okay, granted. You don't. Somehow, black woman and black man grew up in the same household, but black men inherited all the issues and black women didn't. Y'all see how delusional this can be? But here's the thing. This is what we've heard time and time and time again. This is a conversation that we've heard relating to dating and marrying. All the black men are this, and that. And then usually when the black man goes and decides to date, even if he dates to marry out, maybe if he dates and marries abroad, he grabs his passport, it's good to black woman, but she's maybe African from the diaspora. He's lame and he's gay. Or he's corny. But when a black man does it, or a black woman does it, oh, it's because these men know how to treat her better. Y'all see what I'm saying? Let me continue.
Like, nigga, great. But no,
like, again, y'all really think Brad, the business owner, the vice president of the financial industry, you really think that he's bringing home somebody acting like this? What are we even talking about? She's throwing all kinds of N-words, N-bombs, as if she can just walk into the white community and all the high value white men are just gonna just fawn all over her. Like, get real. This is delusional. And this is what I'm saying. This is the stuff that we've heard. And I know this particular video is a little bit extra, but I wanted to play it because I'm like, not only is this extra, this whole thought process, this whole idea to me is extra. And I think how she's representing it is great because it's like, she sounds crazy to me. And this whole idea is literally crazy. It doesn't make sense.
Get snagging. Then the black bitch go get a white nigga. This mother kissing toes, bowing down, buying houses. Oh.
Okay, so a common talking point. Again, that black women, because literally these are going to be women in the lower middle class or just lower class, because most black women, that's actually their socioeconomic position. So these poor black women, right? Case in point, these poor black women all of a sudden just decide to date and marry white men, and they just worship them and buy them houses and give them all these riches and fantasies and all this luxury and treat them like queens. I'm like, if that was the case, then feminism wouldn't exist. I mean, if white men treated their women so amazingly like queens, if they doted and fawned all over just women, period, like they were queens and goddesses, then feminism wouldn't exist. You wouldn't have had a movement that was started by their women, because they were unhappy with the way that they were treated in the system. They wanted more power and control. They wanted more agency. So again, if white men were just treating all these women like queens and had all this money and had all these powers and resources and were just allowing these women to be just, again, doted all over, feminism wouldn't happen. The last couple of decades wouldn't have ever been. Y'all see how delusional this stuff is. Let me continue.
On the first day, he's addressing that black queen as a motherfucking queen.
Okay, again, I can't at this point. When we talk about queens, ladies, let's please make sure that we are at least wearing our own natural hair. I think there needs to be a standard. If you are going to refer to yourself as a queen and a goddess, you have got to be wearing your own crown. Please, that is the bare minimum. I don't know any queen in the history anywhere of any nation that has literally been walking the crown of another woman, of another empire, of another dynasty. I don't know that. And yet, and still, we do this all the time in the black community. And it's like, okay, if you want to do that, fine. But then don't go around calling yourself queen when you're not even living up to the bare minimum. Queens at least wear their own crown. We're not even wearing our own crown consistently. This is why I'm saying, like, this is not a serious conversation. Folks, this is not a serious conversation. Let me continue.
Actually listens to what the she got to say. He take heed of her interests. He don't tell her, oh, that's a dumb idea. I'm just a narcissist. And no, you're not going to be great. Instead, he pours into her because he knows having her is fucking valuable. Nigga, value just went up with a black bitch.
Again, okay, so in order to believe this, you have to have zero understanding of history, period. If everything that she said is true, feminism wouldn't have existed, in the last, couple hundred years of American history would be null and void. So again, I want you to take this in context of what we actually know happens. Interracial, here, and again, I've said this before, I'll say this again. Interracial sex, or interracial mixing, if you will, has been going on since the birth of this nation. White men have had access to black women since the birth of this nation, consistently. Even if you look at down to the anti-miscegenation laws, the laws, they were very particular, and they had heavy burdens on black men and white women who got together, but the burdens were a lot lighter on white men, on black women, a lot different. And then especially, black people weren't even considered property for the first couple hundred years. And so it's like, they could do whatever they wanted with property. Case in point, white men have had access to black women, like literally for hundreds of years. So that's not having a relationship with a white guy, getting his attention, having him to maybe even buy you a meal or so because he has generational wealth. Not impressive. That's been happening literally forever. But to me, sometimes the way it's just, we paint this whole grass is greener on the other side as if all white people are this and all black people are that is just completely disconnected from reality. Also, there are white families out here today who very much struggle. 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That's including white people, Asian, Black, Hispanic, Americans, period. So your average white guy right now is upset that he can't afford to buy a home or a vacation home, or can't afford to have his stay-at-home wife or have his wife stay at home and he go to work and get a pension and a 401k and send his kids to college and also have money for vacations. Your average white man in America can't even live up to that lifestyle. But somehow the fact that 80% of Americans are living like paycheck to paycheck, but yet and still all these white men just somehow love black women, although they marry black women at a rate of like less than 1%. Depending upon the context, right? I think like 1% of white men currently have a black wife. But case in point, the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't mathin'. And we can go back and forth and argue the numbers. But what we do know is white men have had access to black women for hundreds of years. If they really wanted us to be their number one, then I think by now that could have happened. And for you to paint a picture as if all these white people are just living luxuriously, you have to be devoid from history and you have to be devoid from reality in order to come to those conclusions. That's all I'm saying.
You worship us, but don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, and then she ended that white men worship black women. White men worship black women so much that they don't marry them, that their hair literally was discriminated against down to the point where they had to pass a law just so that black women could feel comfortable wearing their own natural hair in white only spaces or white brand spaces, but they love you so much. Really? Like they love you so much that there are literally laws in place to ensure that you weren't considered human. And then even after that, there were anti-miscegenation laws. There were different things, again, to instill that you were not put on the same level class-wise, wealth-wise. Like that's, to me, this is where these arguments, when we want to make these broad statements to literally implicate an entire group of men, and then to literally overlook or just give a large pass to another group of men, it's like, in order for you to do that, again, you have to be devoid of history, of any basic understanding. Yes, there are black men out there who do crazy things, obviously. But that doesn't mean all black men are crazy. It doesn't mean they're all narcissists. It doesn't mean they're all broke. It doesn't mean they all can't. It's like, no, that is just not reality. Of course, yes, there are still good, white guys out there who are in marriages with black women. That does happen. But all I'm saying, it's like, you can't devoid that from the history of what has happened and what is still happening today. The only way you can come to these conclusions, again, is by basically living in fantasy land. But this is what I'm saying. You guys know the different excuses that women make when they talk about why they want to date and marry out. I think most people, I don't think really care if you're dating and marrying out. I don't think people really care if you're happy, you're not being mad at nobody, no big deal. But we're familiar at the different excuses that black women make and have made. But when black men do it, or if they do it, if they date and marry out, or if they just grab their passport, or if they don't fit into a very small, closed definition of what black masculinity is, then they're corny, they're lame, or they're gay. And this is where I'm saying, ladies, we have to start to be a little bit more open-minded about these conversations. And can we also be honest? Nothing that she said was honest. It was narrative, we've all heard it, but it was completely dishonest, and it was devoid of just historical facts and devoid of reality. So, okay, I have one more, and then I'm gonna open up the call lines.